crosswalks exist. So the vendor community has done it because they use it to sell products, which is good. COVID, various.
U.S. Postal Service has done that, so if you need that crosswalk mark, I might be able to.
Okay. And let's get it to Parham so that we don't have to redo it.
And we have some new standards in Canada that are
That's great.
about to be published.
Mm-hmm.
It will likely be pretty close to the NIST standard. But yeah, sure.
A recent-
Anything like that, it's all good.
Burton Group paper looked at security standards and basically said that NIST and the ISO standard were the two that were most used. Of course, NIST, because I am a NIST, I love NIST. NIST has standardized our lives, so I love NIST. I tell the contractors, don't come to me with anything else. My boss tried to take me over to COVID or one of the others. I'm going, no, NIST. I'm not doing anything else. Don't tell me.
Different kind of purpose.
There's actually a company, it's called UCF, it's the Universal Content Framework, and that does the crosswalk between like 400 different controls or 400 different compliance measures like PCI and SOX and all that.
Cheap too, and it's not very
And it's
expensive.
when you need it.
Yeah,
You also
exactly.
get the NIST audit things as well, right?
But yeah, it includes NIST and a whole ton of DoD
Yeah.
and civilian.
One
So
thing
that's
from an
good.
architecture perspective that needs to be done properly is the profile of each of the components in its context to avoid working with a white puzzle.
Right.
The standards are great, but you need to put it in context, right?
Right now, I just like to get out of chaos. Gary.
You asked initially questions that I'm going to suggest you had veered off of. And that was, how do I know I am secure? And now we're answering the question, how do I know I'm in compliance?
I know.
They're not the same.
They're not the same.
The latter is a useful information, but it doesn't tell you how secure you are.
I agree with you, but I don't know how to answer that first question.
However, if we can't answer it, then we can't manage the risk. And everything we're doing is nice to do, but it'll be serendipity if we actually.
See,
To
and
answer that,
I can't go there, so.
you need some proactive verification for the red teams going after
Yes,
authorized unknown, right?
you're going to have to
We
do.
lost the audit side of the house, and then pretty good incident reporting tool.
Yeah, I mean,
from,
Right now, I
You
have
have to do things at the mission level
yeah.
and then and organizational level, not just system level.
He's right. I don't have an answer for it, but he's right.
It helps us that when when we were doing our statement of work, the murder board, as it kept being tweaked, the head of security was always,
Okay.
every time a change hit, you know, every time a change hit, there were like 3 people. Every time a change hit, security was always one of those. I mean, and that I recognize as good. But yeah, there was no change that went through that security did not double check. And he must have been stoked. But there was no change that went unseen.
So things you may want to think about, here's an 853 in this, right? If you look at each of those controls and you're contemplating that relationship you're going to have with your outsourcer, in some cases it's going to be a clear, the outsourcer is going to do that particular control. In other cases, you know, you're doing it all. In other cases, it's joint. And it's really understanding for each one of those what that responsibility is going to be and having an eye-to-eye understanding, hopefully captured in contract language, right, as far as what that is going to be. It's that, you know, the gray areas are where you get bit the most, right, as far as like generating audit records and making sure you have access to what the audit records are down the, you know, be able to merge that in, or you be able to have this overall context of security incidents, things like that.
So asking ourselves, and it's interesting, because having been in this contract now for 7 years, no, 6 years, we haven't really figured out how to make our outsourced entity our partner. And it's really hard to get to comfortable or to confident. And how do you make the provider care as much about security as you do? And how do you build caring into the incentives? It's tough, because those are not as easy. Those are emotional kind of things, and it's tough to build that into a contract. So, yeah. So I end up where, hopefully, Ron Ross starts, how do you build trust? So I want to see your SOW and your work, because you can use it. Because I know at this point, what we're going to have to be doing is building in performance requirements based on the best knowledge we have. Yes?
I think one of the most difficult things to overcome, and I hope there's not too many contracting officers in here, but we have to get over the idea that the contractors are evil.
Yes.
Okay? Making a profit is not evil, it's actually the American way, okay? But so many times we encounter, now, like I said, I've been on both sides of whatever evil is, and I continually encounter gubbies, and I'm a gubby, I can say that now, that think that, contractors are evil and they're out to take us to the cleaners. And so they do everything they can to make sure that they don't make a profit. Well, my experience is if a contractor's not making a profit, you're probably never going to enter into a partnership relationship with them, because they're going to fight. Everything you ask them to do, they're going to want you to document it. You're going to be these memos back and forth. It's going to be a very painful relationship. Now, on the other hand, you don't want them to make an excessive profit either. And I'll go back to what I said, when a contractor, if you have a $10 million a year contract and they have a 7% or 7.5% profit, and then you know what that is, so you've got $700,000 worth of profit, and half of that is really customer satisfaction. They will really work to make you happy. And when they're working, when you know they're working to make you happy, then you can go back to that other thing. You can start building get some confidence and some trust in it. And that's just my personal experience.
I concur. Yeah, I concur.
I think a lot of it's, setting the expectation, when you're embarking in a relationship, it's really setting the guidelines in terms of what you're looking for and being really clear about it and doing checks and balances with it. We have a great partnership with one of the contractors that we have, and it's continually going back and forth, and doing a sanity check to say, where are we? A lot of times agencies will go into contract with industry, and they'll just let them go on and do what they have to do, and they won't engage with them until there's a problem. So I think it's really by setting the expectations up front, setting goals. It's all about customer service, but the customer service is built around meeting those expectations and understanding what their expectations are also. So I think it's writing a good statement of work. I think it's putting in a good, strong contract